The US dollar has held its place as the world's dominant currency for over 70 years. But now, a new era is emerging. Will the dollar continue to reign supreme, or will it lose its reserve status in the face of rising global challengers? Welcome back to our playlist, Economic Cycles and Shifting Global Power. This is Part 7, The Future of the US Dollar. Will it lose its reserve status? If you missed Part 6, where we explored what happens when national debt hits the ceiling, be sure to check it out. Now let's dive into the future of the US dollar and what's at stake for you and the global economy. Imagine a world where the US dollar is no longer the global reserve currency. What would that mean for the American economy? For global trade? And for your personal finances? The US dollar has been the backbone of global commerce for over 7 decades, but the rise of alternative currencies and geopolitical tensions are shaking this foundation. Could the dollar lose its dominance? And what happens if it does? Let's find out. The US dollar became the global reserve currency in 1944 after the Bretton Woods Conference, where it was pegged to gold. This made the dollar the preferred currency for global trade, investment, and reserves. By the 1970s, after the US abandoned the gold standard, the dollar's dominance was further cemented through the petrodollar system, where oil transactions were exclusively conducted in US dollars. Since then, the US dollar has been at the heart of international finance, holding over 60% of global foreign exchange reserves as of 2024. But is that about to change? Let's examine why the US dollar's reserve status is now under threat. For decades, no currency could rival the strength of the US dollar, but in recent years we've seen a rise in alternatives. China's Yuan, Russia's ruble, and a growing push from BRICS nations to use local currencies in trade instead of the US dollar. China has been actively promoting the yuan as an alternative to the dollar through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative and agreements with countries like Saudi Arabia to trade oil in yuan rather than dollars. In 2024, more than 20 countries have joined China's efforts to bypass the dollar in their trade deals. And it's not just China. In response to US sanctions, Russia has made major efforts to use the ruble and other currencies in trade and has expanded its use of gold as an alternative reserve asset. With these efforts growing stronger, the US dollar's grip on global trade is being tested like never before. The US dollar is under pressure from several fronts. US debt and inflation. As the US national debt surpasses $33 trillion and inflation spikes in 2024, confidence in the dollar's value is waning. Global de-dollarization. As countries move away from using the dollar for trade, the US dollar's role as the primary global reserve currency is increasingly being questioned. Geopolitical tensions. With rising tensions between the US and China, Russia, and even European allies, trust in the stability of the dollar is becoming more fragile. These factors are pushing the global community to seek alternatives to the dollar, opening up opportunities for other currencies to rise in importance. So, what happens if the US dollar loses its reserve currency status? First, the US would face higher borrowing costs. As the demand for dollars decreases, interest rates would rise, making it more expensive for the US government to service its debt. Second, global trade would be disrupted. If countries no longer trade in dollars, the global financial system would have to adapt to new reserve currencies, leading to uncertainty and instability. And third, the value of the dollar would likely decline. As the US loses its position as the world's reserve currency, the dollar could lose purchasing power, affecting everything from goods and services to real estate. The economic implications of losing the reserve currency status would be far-reaching, not just for the US, but for the entire global economy. Can the US dollar maintain its dominant position in the global economy? Some argue that the dollar's decline is inevitable, pointing to the rise of digital currencies like Bitcoin and increasing interest in central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. However, others argue that no other currency, not even the Yuan, is ready to replace the dollar. The dollar's deep liquidity, the strength of US financial institutions, and its integration into global financial systems give it advantages that are hard to replicate. In the end, the future of the dollar may depend on how the US responds to the growing threat from challengers and how it manages its own economic policies. But the question remains, will the US dollar continue to be the world's currency of choice, or will we see a new global currency emerge? Now we want to hear from you. Do you think the US dollar will lose its reserve currency status? What would be the impact on the global economy if it did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. And don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos exploring the future of global finance. In Part 8, we'll explore the end of the dollar dominance. Is it over for the US? Stay tuned. Thanks for watching Part 7 of Economic Cycles and Shifting Global Power. Join us in Part 8, where we'll dive into the future of the US dollar and what a post-dollar world could look like. See you there.